Hi, Evelyn here from Tiger Flynn Jewelers. I just said I'd take this opportunity to run through the 4Cs with you. If you're shopping for diamonds, you're just interested in getting a little bit more information about these beautiful stones, this video may help you. So the first of the C's we're going to run through is colour. So when we're dealing with white or colourless stones, the absence of colour makes them rarer, more desirable and more value. Funnily enough, when we switch over to coloured diamonds like yellow or red, they do come in all different colours. The more intense the colour, the more desirable and the more expensive. I do want you to keep in mind when I'm running through the 4Cs, these aren't rights and wrongs, and you don't have to get the best in every category for something to be beautiful. It's just an explanation of how diamonds are valued and what the 4Cs are. So with colour, it starts at D. The reason why they started at D, by the way, I'm using the GIA chart. GIA would be the founders of the 4Cs. They are an internationally recognised company that independently certify diamonds, and their accreditation carries the most respect in the world. So a diamond that has one of these certificates is usually a little bit more expensive than one without, but generally if GIA say it is something, it's almost like the hardest teacher grading your paper. So it could go to a different laboratory and come back slightly higher than GIA would say it is, because they tend to be quite tough on their diamonds. The reason why they started the colour scale at D was they wanted to break away from any existing colour scales to avoid confusion. So on this scale here, D, E and F are all considered colourless. So do keep in mind that a professional diamond grader on the hand in a ring mounted would find it difficult to tell whether a ring is a D, E or an F colour, that these are all considered up in the colourless grade. When diamonds are inspected, it's in a sealed room without colour on a white background with daylight compared to master model. So they match up which colour it is exactly, and it's quite a precise thing. But I mean, when you are wearing the rings out in everyday life, this does change. So if you go for D, E or F, you're going to get that kind of very icy white, that kind of nice crisp white. And then we go down to what GIA are terming as near colourless. So we've got G, H, I and J. Now, in my professional opinion, I see when you enter I, and if you can see the colour there, I do think that's where you start to see a little bit of warmth in a stone. So it's just a little bit of a hue comes in when the chemical composition is being made up. One of the chemicals makes the diamond slightly change colour, so that introduces a warmth into the stone. Like some people will say that when you buy diamonds down the colour grade, that they're actually softer on your hand, that they're a little bit more flattering to wear. I must say here we do stick to quite a high standard of colour, keeping our buying range from the D to the I scale, and we don't buy below that. I have seen at times really nicely cut J colours that have been beautiful, and sometimes if you're not achieving for your budget, higher colour, it might be something that you might want to look at. I've seen J's and I've seen K's and they're magnificent. Okay, so that is colour. Obviously, the less colour in it, the more expensive it becomes. So this affects your price as well. And also, if you were saying buying a 3-stone ring or a halo set ring, it would be very important that these colours would match. So you don't want to buy 3 stones that are 3 different colours. So we always take great care in matching our colour clarity and our cut of our rings that have multiple stones, 3s, 5 stones, 4 stones. And also when you're looking at a halo setting, you don't want an individual diamond to be a lower colour than your surrounding diamonds, because you do want your stone in the centre to really pop and have lots of life. So we found that if you keep it the same or a grade above, that works really, really well. Clarity is our next category. So this is how perfect a diamond is. Let's say no diamond is perfect like ourselves. We do have these 2 grades up here which are flawless and internally flawless. So this means that a professional diamond grader under magnification of 10, when they inspect a diamond and they may get a second opinion, they do often on these, I think, to achieve this grade. It's not just one grader would say this in a company like GIA. So these are inspected and they deem them to be either flawless or internally flawless, so either completely flawless or internally flawless. I mean, the only time we have really bought one of these diamonds is when we've bought them on a VS price. This does affect pricing. It's something that's so perfect. It's a perfection that we don't perhaps see because we would never see by the eye a VVS stone, say, because these are very, very small inclusions that are very, very difficult, not for us to see by the eye, but actually a professional diamond grader to see under magnification of 10. So if it's very, very difficult for a professional diamond grader to see under magnification of 10, then it's going to be impossible for us to see by the eye. So that's definitely going to be a really clear stone. Then we have very small inclusions in the upper and lower region. So these would usually always be eye clean. I'm going to show you something a little bit. So the shape of your diamond can affect this sometimes. So emerald cuts and assured cuts, they are step cut, so they're cut in straight lines. So we would often say these are cut to show off a stone's clarity. And then if you look at the brilliant cuts here, these look almost kind of messy because they're brilliant. They're cut from the center and they've got a lot more facets. So you can look into your emerald cut and it's like looking into a pool of glass. See the way it's much clearer and you can see much more. So we would always say that these would need to be in the VS category, but unless they were an exceptionally high SI, which is the next category we're going to cover. And with the rounds, then you could go, or with all your brilliant cuts, you could definitely go down to an SI category, which will be the next one that we cover, and it would be the most commercially popular stone. So SI1 and SI2, these are small inclusions in the upper and lower region. We would say that these are stones that when we take out the loupe and we inspect the stone, we would quickly identify the imperfections. Sometimes we can get really, really nice SI1s that are eye clean. My own stone is an SI2. There is an inclusion, it's covered with a flaw, I never see it. So for me, that represents really good value for money. They're the birthmark of the diamond. It's a natural thing to happen. They're formed over billions of years in the earth. So, I mean, sometimes people will say, look, they see the inclusion and they actually quite like it. It's a bit of character in a diamond. And funnily enough, it's one of the ways that you identify a diamond sometimes to a stimulant is that it does have inclusions. So if we weren't sure, we'd inspect it and we see an inclusion and we know then that it's the real deal. And then we come down to included or plique. So really when we're up SI and above, these kind of inclusions in, you know, a fairly decent sized stone don't affect the clarity. But then when you go down to the eye, the included stones, it does affect the clarity. Those inclusions do stop the sparkle, say, of a stone. It interferes with the stone's performance. So generally we don't actually purchase in these grades. I did before, and we did have a yellow diamond and it was included in the upper region, and funnily enough the inclusion really, really worked with the stone and you didn't notice it. I think it was the colour of the inclusion and the colour of the diamond. It wasn't something that took away from the beauty of the stone. So again, these are just facts about them. The one thing I would say about clarity is you do always have to view a stone, and if you are diamond shopping and you're looking at diamonds and looking at rings, don't be afraid to ask whoever's showing them to show you how to use the loupe and inspect your diamond and see, and at least you know what you're getting then. I mean, we're always very happy to do that here. It's like a little bit of education, but it's fun, and we'll go through everything like that with you. So next we go on to the carat, the cut. Sorry, I'm getting confused. I'm rushing ahead of myself. So the cut grade. So everyone says, oh, this is the shape of the diamond. So it's actually how well the diamond is cut. So the round brilliant is the only diamond that has 3 cut grades because it is an equation developed by a mathematician on the perfect proportions for light refraction. So there is 3 categories that it's graded on. This is a different company, HRD. This is an Antwerp-based laboratory, and they would be the next respected after GIA. So the round one goes on your proportions, your polish and your symmetry, and nobody can agree what the correct proportions are of, say, an oval, so it doesn't have that on the cert. These are graded from excellent, very good, fair to poor. So a lot of this, I would say, is when people come to shop for diamonds, a lot of people talk about the clarity and a lot of people talk about the colour and of course the size or the weight of the carat. So this is what makes your diamond sparkle. This is what gives your diamond fire and brilliance. And really, this is what diamonds are about. Keep in mind that all the diamonds that we stock here are modern cut diamonds, so they are all cut on a machine, so they go onto the machine, it's all typed in, and apart from avoiding, say, a massive inclusion, they would always be good to very good cuts. If a diamond is hand cut, it can never obviously have that kind of precision and get that mathematical equation to get your light refraction out. So I'm just going to show you here, because this is quite a good diagram. For the proportions, if the proportions are correct, you'll get optimal light refraction. So see the way the lines are coming in and bouncing out there. So if your diamond is the right shape, it's going to be the perfect equation for this to happen. But sometimes what will happen is, and some places actually advertise this as a good thing about a diamond, that it's showy, or, you know, a 2 carat that faces up like a 2.5, that it's very big on top and you don't have this much underneath. But if that happens, it might look bigger, but all your light goes out the sides. You end up with bigger looking, really kind of dull stone. So that's not, you know, much good to anyone. And then if it's too deep, well, that makes it look smaller. And these are actually tied in with the next category. We'll go on to the carat weight. And the light goes out the side. So you really don't want that. So that is your cut. You want a really nice cut because you want a nice sparkly diamond. It also covers how your diamond's finished. So you want your diamond nicely finished as well. So next we're going to go on to carat. So how big the diamond is. So yes in a way, no in a way. A certain weight, because it's actually a weight terminology, should be a certain size. So say a 1 carat should be a certain size if it's properly cut. This is where things get kind of interesting, because often we will have people coming in and they might have a budget, and for their budget they say, oh, you know, I really like the 1 carat, I love the 1 carat, but it might have to be popping down to an eye colour, and we might be going down to kind of an SI2 and a good grade of cut. And then we may get a stone that's say 0.90 in weight, but the dimensions might not be that different to a 1 carat. Actually, if a 1 carat's only a good cut, it could happen that if the 90 pointer is a very good cut or an excellent cut, it could actually look bigger if your 1 carat was too deep. So sometimes they might buy that, and when diamonds are priced, when they hit a certain weight, like when they hit a 1 carat, 1.25 carat, 25 pointer, 50 pointer, they're like benchmark prices. I'm going to explain to you what the pointer is as well now, because I know you might not know what I'm talking about. So when we're talking about these as a terminology, 0.50, half a carat, see 0.50, so 50 points, so 50 of the whole unit, half of the whole unit. Then we're up to the whole unit, the 1 carat, and then 1.5 or 1.25, so the unit and the extra up to the next 100. And then when you reach the next 100, it's say a 2 carat. So another thing about this is the larger the individual stone, the more expensive it becomes. So if you were to buy a G color VS1 triple excellent cut 1.5 carat diamond, you could be looking at 14,000. Just ballpark figure here now. Sorry, there's a few people after probably choking. If you wanted to buy 3 half carats, that would add up to 1.5 carat, all of the same grade, it could come in at about 7,000. That's because you've split it up into smaller stones, and the smaller stones are less expensive per carat. So that is a really quick whistle stop tour of the 4 Cs. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you've got something out of it. If you do ever have any questions, social media, ask us, message us, DM us, phone up the store. If you want to come in, we have hundreds of diamonds in stock. We also have access to the world's diamond resources, so we can get you in anything you'd like to see. We can get it in on Apro and we can show it to you. We'd be delighted to do that. And we really are passionate about these beautiful stones, and we love sharing any information we have on them. I'll go into different things like fluorescence in other videos that will help you. But now you know what the 4 Cs are, and all of these together combine to give you the value of the stone. Our professional advice is when you're shopping for a stone, buy a nice balanced stone. We do like a good cut here. We like an excellent to very good. Buy a stone that is maybe not the best in clarity, but one that's eye clean, that nothing's ever going to bother you, that doesn't have an inclusion that you can see. When you're going for colour, yeah, it's nice to keep it up at the top, but certainly if you find an E grade, there is absolutely no need to wait to find a D. And in terms of your carat weight, well, that's really up to you, which one your preference is. It was so nice of you to take the time to listen to me, and hopefully it'll be one of a series of videos, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.